Okay, I know 2 Jim Carrey movies in a row is a bit odd, considering the man himself, but trust me, this one is also really good. The Truman Show, like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, is a concept movie. Concept movies basically explore big premises but on a small scale, with very human characters. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind took the concept of removing memory and applied it to a couple. The Truman Show, directed by Peter Weir, takes the big concept of what if our life was actually a television show, and projects it onto a simple everyman character. And that's perhaps what makes these movies such great films, as well as great social satires, because, at the core, they are much more human than movies which use big concepts on a big scale. But I digress. The Truman Show follows Truman Burbank, your average American man, who is unknowingly the star of a reality TV show about his life. The movie uses this setup to explore how mass media and consumer culture are becoming ever more pervasive in our modern lives. It's a very clever satire. Truman symbolises the American everyman figure. His job is vague and set in the cliched environment. He has a stereotypically beautiful blonde wife. He lives in a normal American home. However, this life is a facade. It has been scripted by those around him, pushing him towards specific avenues in life. Truman begins to question his reality when mass media continually tries to push him down paths he doesn't want to go. This is brilliantly explored through Truman's relationship with his wife, Meryl. While Truman wants an honest family relationship, as he is symbolically named Truman, Meryl is only there as an actor, and when questioned about how she feels, can only respond with more scripted dialogue, shown in this scene.
Why do you want to have a baby with me? You can't stand me.
That's not true. Why don't you let me fix you some of this new mococo drink? All natural cocoa beans from the upper slopes of Mountain Nicaragua, no artificial sweeteners.
What the hell are you talking about? Who are you talking to?
I've tasted other cocos. This is the best.
What the hell does this have to do with anything? Tell me what's happening!
Well, you're having a nervous breakdown. That's what's happening.
You're part of this, aren't you?
The director, Peter Weir, uses a combination of dialogue and camera work to show us just how artificial we have become. When we see Truman speak, Weir uses very stable camera angles, not unlike how we would view most other movies. This, rather ironically, makes Truman seem real. However, when his wife Meryl begins her product placement, the camera zooms in to mimic an infomercial. This highlights the disconnect between Truman and his wife. While Truman wants reality, wants truth, his consumeristic society divides the ideally loving relationship that should exist between man and wife. All of this creates the entrapment of the everyman. While Truman experiences a seemingly idyllic lifestyle, symbolized by clear blue skies and sea and bright, colourful shots, he is actually entrapped within a false world. This false world is enforced through Weir's use of angles. Weir uses fisheye lens to visually imply that Truman is trapped as a fish is in a bowl. This is representative of the individual in the modern world. While we are presented with an idyllic world containing the values mass media and consumer culture want us to accept, this idyllic world traps us rather than benefits us. Christoph, the elusive producer behind the show, is perhaps the most obvious commentary in the film. With Christoph, the show's creator, at the top, and Truman, the created, at the bottom, we again revisit the theme of every sci-fi movie ever, playing God. In this scenario, corporations and mass media have reached such a powerful state that they don't just distribute the news, they shape the collective conscious of this generation. This harkens to reality shows like The Kardashians. These shows are created stories, with real people merely the puppets for a wider audience, and this results in great detriment, not only to the people involved in the show, but to everyone watching. These shows ultimately enforce shallow, hyper-consumeristic values under the guise of being normal, that puts the human race behind an inescapable facade. However, The Truman Show does seem to show us a way out of this despair. When Truman finds real love, or perhaps just real attraction, to a girl named Lauren in his class, she is removed from the set. From that point on, Lauren acts as a symbol for truth for Truman, who begins to reconstruct her from newspaper and fashion magazine clippings. This reconstruction allows Truman to find truth from lies, and this is symbolically what we must do to find truth in a world where mass media forces certain views into being accepted by the public. Indeed, as Truman sails out of the set, Weir uses a POV shot of the completed picture of Lauren to symbolize how Truman has successfully reconstructed fact from fiction and has gained direction in his life. In fact, Weir uses pretty strong biblical imagery to suggest this. As Truman overcomes his fear of the ocean, which the show created by faking a death scene for his father, Christof attempts to drown Truman by raising the weather conditions. As Truman emerges from the water, he is positioned to allude to a crucified Jesus. His immersion in the water also seems to symbolize a sort of baptism. It symbolizes Truman's transcendence from the world of illusions to the world of reality. Truman the television show character may die, but the real Truman is reborn. Like Truman, to unlock the truth inside us and escape from the pervasion of mass media, we must have the ability to find truth in lies and to confront the fears mass media places inside us.